Hello, and welcome to round 2 of the Parenting Roundabout podcast for the week of February 4th. I'm Catherine Haleko, and I'm here with Terry Morrow. Say hi, Terry.
Hello.
Usually on this podcast, we talk about parenting issues, but once a week, Terry and I like to get together to discuss TV, movies, books, and other entertainment topics because it's nice to talk about something other than parenting for a change.
Yes.
So this week, we had planned to continue our West Wing watch, but the West Wing Weekly podcast had other plans that differed from ours.
That they did not alert us of in advance.
Right.
Which would have been polite.
They never do. So we're going to put off discussing that episode called A Change is Gonna Come until next week. And instead, we are going to talk about an episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine that we're using to wean ourselves off the Mike Schur universe now that Good Place is over for this season. But before that, the pop culture phenomenon known as Super Bowl ads. We thought we would do a quick discussion of those.
Yeah.
I don't know. I missed some of them during the broadcast. I did see a lot of them. You know, I did look at some roundups afterwards and see some, although some of the ones that I enjoyed or that I heard about in other ways didn't show up on those roundups. Like, I liked the one that was for Google Translation, where they showed people using the Google app to translate things like signs and menus and voices. And then at the end it said the most commonly translated words are "How are you?" "Thank you," and "I love you."
Well, that's
and
very
I thought
sweet.
That was sweet.
I did not see that one.
Yeah, and it was cool to see, you know, scenery and people from all over the world. So I liked that one.
That's nice. And
also, was the Microsoft Xbox adaptive controller.
Yeah.
Was that shown during the Super Bowl?
I believe it was. Okay. I feel like I've seen shorter versions of that on things, maybe on Hulu or something like that. I felt like I had seen it, so I wasn't watching it, and then I realized it was much longer and what it was for.
Yeah.
And it was, I was watching the Super Bowl for the commercials, but I was also editing the audio of podcasts while I was doing it, so I had my headphones in, and occasionally I would look up and see it was a commercial and go, "Oh, shoot, rip out the headphones."
Right.
And at some point, my husband started tapping my foot and saying "commercial," so that I would pay attention. So I came into that one partway through. I got to look that up on the internet and see the whole thing, because that's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And the version that I saw also online, not during the show, was probably like a minute long and featured a lot of different kids.
Yes, that's what I'd seen. And because I'm always multitasking, I assumed there was a new TV show featuring kids with limb differences. And I thought, well, that's kind of nice. I got to find out about that. But the whole thing was for, this is what happens when you don't listen to things. You just look at them. It's
a controller for the Xbox that
is awesome.
It looks, I mean, what they were saying is anyone can use it. And, you know, these kids had different challenges and they were all able to use it. So it seemed to be like it was adaptive in more than one way. Did
they make the point that also people with no disabilities can use it and might enjoy it as well? Because that's my favorite thing about adaptive tech, is that it turns out to have all sorts of unanticipated benefits for everybody.
Right. I don't think they necessarily made that point very strongly. That they were more emphasizing that this allowed these kids to play with other kids.
That is very cool. I got to look that up. That's right up my alley. Yeah. But, so I missed a lot of them. And I also fell asleep around the fourth quarter of that barn burner of a game. I fell asleep.
Yeah, exactly.
And woke up well after it was, we woke up briefly and saw that the Patriots had won. And then my husband and I both fell back asleep. So, you know, I missed whatever was going on towards the end of the game and a lot of it in between. But there was some that I enjoyed, and there were a great many that just left me saying, huh?
Yes.
What is, I mean, very, very happy to see Adam Scott and Kristen Chenoweth getting big paychecks. You go, guys. But I have no idea what you were advertising for. Well, I guess Kristen Chenoweth was avocados, but I didn't get
It was avocados, and I thought it was kind of cute with, like, it was a Best in Show sort of spoof where instead of being a dog show, it was the humans were the contestants and the dogs were like their handlers.
And this has to do with avocados how?
Yeah, that part was totally unclear. And then the Adams got one where he was basically playing Ben Wyatt because he was being an accountant.
Yes.
It was for some sort of expense report app or something. Yes. I don't know.
Which, number one, get Tom Haverford and Jean Ralphio in there. Because that was, what was that? Entertainment 920 was their thing? That was like the end of the world party. That's what they needed to do. Get them in there. Get Aziz Ansari and Ben Schwartz in there, and make it a whole Parks and Rec parody. Don't just put it all on the shoulders of Ben Wyatt. But good on you, Adam Scott. That's great. Nice to see you. I have no idea what that. A lot of these things you could tell that these tiny little enterprises blew like their entire advertising budget forever to get 30 seconds on the Super Bowl, and that's. You know, if you go over, that's great. That's going to make you, but you have to explain what you are and why we want to. I still don't quite know what that is. I guess you have to go to the website then and figure it out just out of a glow of good feeling for Adam Scott or whatever. But there was a lot of those that was like, what even are you? You know? And then there were a couple that seemed like they were very clear as to what they are. There was like a head shaving device, and there was a mirror in which you did sports or, workouts. And I thought, these have to be parodies because they're so straightforward and they're so weird that you go to this website and it's going to be, have a Miller Lite or something. But I kept waiting for the last shoe to drop on those, but I went online and they seem to be legit things. So you got to be a little jokey, but not so jokey that we don't know what you are. But if you're not jokey enough, we're like, this can't really just be a straightforward advertisement for this item. Right. There's got to be something else. I don't know. What's going on here?
What am I missing? Yeah.
But it's, ones I particularly enjoyed. I liked the one with Jason Bateman as the elevator operator. That's a riff on The Good Place, right? That sounds like the layers of some portion of The Bad Place where they're just throwing out things that are awful. And it seems like this is an elevator that we could see Sean on at some point going down to one of these terrible, annoying human activities. But it was funny. It made me laugh. And there was the one, I had to like go look this up. I missed the first half because I was doing something else. I missed the first half of it and I looked up and then I went and watched it online of the guy who just starts saying things and they happen. And then it winds up being an ad for a car that you tell it what to do and it does it.
I missed
Which I feel like I may have seen similar commercials before, but this one was well done, except that my husband and I were like, is that guy somebody we should recognize? They wouldn't just put like just a regular actor doing that. It's got to be somebody. Is it this guy? No, it's not that guy. It turns out it's no guy. It's a guy. It's a guy, but it's a guy. A commercial guy. It's not a famous guy.
But in so many of them, it was a robot.
Yeah.
Did you feel like there
was
were
a thing.
many, many, many robots?
Yes.
And most of them were either just dumb or freaky, like the TurboTax one where it was a child and it was a kid robot. And I didn't like that. It was
weird and it was a long way to go for the punchline of what the product was. And it did not in any way make me want to go to Turbo. Oh, I want to go to that place that has the human beings who are going to sympathize with me with my taxes. Honestly, I want the robot on online chat that I can talk to. We talked about this yesterday. Not so much wanting the human being, because a human being is going to sympathize with me and say, oh, that really is terrible. You know what? I can't help you. Why don't you go on our website? Right. So, I'm going to have to be on hold for that sympathetic human being. If that little child robot can give me my answers online, that sounds groovy. So that was weird. Yes, the robots were unsettling. I did sort of like the punchline of the one where the robot is good at everything, but then he can't have a beer with the guys after work. But not enough. But it was, again, too far to go for the punchline. A lot of these were too far to go for the punchline. So I don't know. There was somebody, I was listening to the Bobby Bones podcast earlier today, and they were mentioning the one where there was a coach who was in a hit and run accident and he met with all the first responders and stuff. It was very touching, even though neither my husband or I could figure out who he was. Is he somebody we're supposed to recognize? He's apparently a coach of an NFL team. Mm-hmm. And it's a really delicate thing to walk. Something that's really serious and sentimental can be very good, but also when you're watching like 3 stupid, jokey commercials and then one sentimental, it's like, is this the appropriate place for us to be discussing this? Maybe this should be a 60-minute segment. I want to be able to give a little more time to this than just the 60 seconds between the giant barrel of corn syrup being rolled along and, robots. So that was...
And you wonder, you're like, someone's paying for this.
Yes.
Somebody who wants to make a profit somehow.
Exactly.
So what is the underlying, ulterior motive here?
That is also a distasteful part of it. Is this something, this is very meaningful and this is very wonderful and I'm glad to know about it, but this is being staged for our benefit by somebody wanting to take money out of our pockets.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little discomforting. Mm-hmm. I don't know about that.
I liked the one, it was for Toyota, and it was a female football player, and it showed her as a little girl and growing up. And that one was cool. There was that one. That was one of the few that was, not trying to be silly and pulled off its tone, I thought.
I do too, but my thing is, what does it have to do with Toyota?
Yeah.
That's one of those where that was a lovely little mini movie, but they didn't...
Well, they showed her driving in the car.
I guess, but it's like, so what are you saying about your car in relation to this story? Mm-hmm. People who have had an interesting life story drive it? That's not going to put me behind the wheel of one. Are you saying that you have been through similar challenges in your life as a corporation? It didn't work for me as an ad. It was very touching as a story. Similarly, there was one with Serena Williams for some product. I have no idea what it is.
It's a dating app.
Is that what it is? Can you date her if you get this app? Is that what they're suggesting?
That one I definitely struggled with the connection. The idea, it's a dating app that women sort of are in the lead, or basically a man cannot ask out a woman on that site. The woman has to make the first move.
Oh, goodness.
So...
Well, now that I know that's what it's for, I like the commercial less. It's like, well, okay, I guess, but you would have to go to... You couldn't tell that from the commercial. You had to go look it up and say, what the heck is this, right?
Yeah, I mean, I happened
Or you had heard of it.
I knew already.
You have your finger on the pulse of the dating app industry.
Yeah, exactly. I'm on all of them.
Yeah, there was one for this, which I thought it was kind of cute because it was playing on Michael Bublé's name.
Oh, yeah, the seltzer.
Yes, have you ever heard of that seltzer? Do you have it?
I believe I've seen it in the store, and I've definitely seen that commercial before.
Yeah, I think I have too. But it was ruined by the fact that my husband came in and said, "Yeah, they sell that stuff where I work. It's awful. Everybody hates it." So it's like Super Bowl dime flushed down the toilet there, bubbly or whatever it is you call yourself,
whatever your name is.
Per the college my husband works at, you stink. And I did like the one with all the, I guess all the former NFL players they were like the gala and it just, yes. And then but I wanted my husband in to tell me who all these people were. He came in like halfway through and was going, oh, it's that guy. Oh, it's that guy. And he was saying all the names and I wished he had been there from the beginning.
That was the problem I had with it because I could recognize a lot of them, but not all of them. And I couldn't necessarily, understand why... they were doing like their signature catch or their signature whatever, and I didn't always know.
Yes. I kind of enjoyed it knowing that was what was happening. So that must be something that guy did or said. Mm-hmm. But it would definitely be better with subtitles. They need to for non-football fans put little explanations, like a pop-up video thing,
Right.
This is why this is funny. And oh, look at this. But I guess they figured that people watching the Super Bowl understand football. Could be. Could be not.
Oh, no. Well, we should probably move on
enough of that.
Yes. Enough football, enough commercials.
Let's go back to like old TV shows that have, we're finally catching up with.
Haven't been on for
We had to watch on Hulu.
Yeah, so we decided to watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and in particular an episode called Safe House,
Yes.
which is from season 5, I believe.
Right.
Which is just the most recent. Not this year, but the one before.
Yeah, I'm not sure. They also put out a podcast episode, coincidentally, this week. That was the Good Place podcast put out an episode about Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And they were talking about season numbers, and even there I got lost. So this is a show that I one of the many, many, many shows that I wish well. I hope it lives long and prospers, but I just never seem to get caught up with it. And so I have to just let it go. One day I will be laid up for some reason and I will watch all the shows there are on streaming and I will catch up with you. Until
all
then,
the shows there are.
I wish you the best. Yeah, it's a nice dream, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Because that's when you're sick. That's what you want to do is sit and watch TV shows. I'm sure that'll work out that way. But anyway, so... so I'm not sure where this actually goes in the canon, but it features Mark Evan Jackson, who is in The Good Place, who does The Good Place podcast, who we have been having in our ears quite a lot. So it was fun to watch him as Kevin, Captain Holt's husband, in a very uncomfortable situation. He's been on a lot of the episodes, but this is one that really featured him amusingly. Stuck in a safe house with
Andy
Jake,
Samberg.
played by Andy Samberg, and... for a length of time that would not be feasible and in a way that would not be feasible, but it's a comedy. It's a sitcom about cops, so we let it roll over us.
Right.
And very funny. Very enjoyable. Right from that opening scene where they're doing this, evacuating him from his college in this extremely complicated way. With disguises and trays and
shoving him
things.
under a catering cart of some kind.
And then swapping the catering cart out part way and it was very funny.
Very silly.
Yes.
Very fun.
Delightful. So, yeah, I enjoyed watching this again. I don't know that I have that much to say about it because it was just fun. It was just fun and funny. And I enjoyed the running Nicolas Cage joke of, poor Kevin, whose tastes run extremely counter to this, is stuck with nothing but Nicolas Cage action movies to watch, one more odd and strange and off-putting than the other, but he does just because there's absolutely nothing else. And then after it's over, Jake lets drop that Nicolas Cage has also done movies that he might have enjoyed, but never occurred to Jake to propose them. So,
and did Jake actually have them in his box?
I'm sure he did not have them in his collection. Maybe he did. I can't remember.
Because that would be like even worse torture if he told him about them, but then, actually, I don't have that one.
Yes. It doesn't sound like ones he would have in his collection. No. If he's all about Face Off and, what was the motorcycle riding in flames?
I don't know. And the one with the airplane, Con Air.
Con Air, yes.
Yeah.
One of my husband's favorite movies, I think, whenever that comes on. I don't know if he necessarily watches it, but he smiles. So,
yeah, this was a lot of fun. I've seen an episode here and there of this show, and I've always really, the same as you. I've enjoyed them. I wish it well, and maybe someday I'll do what I did with 30 Rock and start it on the treadmill and just bust through them all. Who knows?
Maybe that will be a future. If you don't get to it by the time we get to the end of The West Wing, that could be our next binge watch.
True.
But we still
our trademark slow binge that we do.
Yeah, but given how much of West Wing is left and how slowly the West Wing Weekly people seem determined to do it.
Yeah, they're dragging this out as slowly
They've suddenly realized
that
when they get to the end of these, they're going to have to end their podcast. So let's do a different podcast every other week. Let's do a behind the scenes. Happy to get the behind the scenes stuff. They had a very interesting thing about casting. I really enjoyed listening to it, but come on. We want to talk about the episode. We want to get past this patch into the good episodes again. They're coming.
They're coming.
Don't delay them. Oh, well. But,
yeah. So we enjoyed The Safe House.
Yes.
And we also recommend listening to the Extra Hot Great podcast episode in which they inducted.
I completely forgot to listen to that one. Yes.
Yeah, they have what they call a canon of best episodes of great shows, and this one was added to the canon at some point, so that's fun to listen to, and we'll put a link to it. And then so for next week, we will go back to West Wing, we hope. A change is gonna come.
Yeah.
Let's hope it really comes this week.
Well, I think they have a live episode for it, so. Finally getting Mary McCormick in there, I think.
Right.
So
we'll watch that and listen to the accompanying podcast. And also, we are excited that One Day at a Time is coming back. Its new season is starting this week. And you can watch the trailer online, which is fun and gives you. I chuckled a few times at it, and also gives you a little sneak peek of a lot of guest stars that are going to be there, including Melissa Fumero, who is on Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yes. Yes, and also Stephanie Beatriz from Brooklyn Nine-Nine was, I'm pretty sure, in there for a couple of seconds, so she passes through as well.
Yeah.
And I was happy to see that Stephen Tobolowsky is still there. So, my favorite secondary character.
Right. And he had a very appropriate line in the trailer where he said, I'm sure somehow this is all my fault.
Yes.
When the roof started leaking.
And Penelope has a new boyfriend, even though I am still mourning for the original boyfriend she had that she dumped when her husband came back. And why couldn't she have brought him back? Maybe he had other jobs. But, okay, you go forward, girl. That's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep on bringing those handsome men to date.
Exactly.
I don't blame you, dude.
Right. So that'll be it for our round 2 today. Please subscribe to our Parenting Roundabout podcast so you won't miss any of our episodes. We have something new for you every weekday. And as always, you can find recaps, links, and an opportunity to comment on our website at parentingroundabout.com. Bye, Terry.
Bye, Catherine.
Bye, everyone.